So you have been using Maxqda from how many years, Tamara?
I think around 3 or 4 years right now. I've started it in my studies, and then I did an internship at Verbi. So this is the company behind Maxqda, and then I started at my current position in November. So on and off, I am doing different projects with it. I've also participated in in some analysis projects outside the university for commercial and for medical projects as well. So yeah, I think around 3 years for different things.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Very good. So you are located at Berlin only right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
So is it evening hour right now or early morning at Berlin?
it's afternoon at the moment.
Afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just waiting for 5 more minutes so that it starts at 8 o'clock Indian Standard Time. So I'm just waiting for others also to come in so that we can proceed there.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, the whole company is located in Berlin. We are a family-run business still. So the
Okay.
original creator was a scientist for educational science in Marburg, and then the company is still run by his daughter. And then they moved from Marburg to Berlin, but it's still a Germany-based company.
Oh, okay. Good. That's very good.
Good evening, everyone. I am seeing more and more people joining.
Yeah, all of them would be joining up because they are curious to learn the software that is Max number one. Number two, they are with me from past January 10th. The workshop had started, so they are with me from that time onwards.
Ah, okay. So nice to see you, everyone.
Almost, I think I'm going to complete on this Sunday. I would say 3 weeks.
Mhm. And how often do you meet?
Yes, they are. I mean, I'm just focusing exclusively on qualitative research only, Tamara, no quantitative. Quantitative, I see that it's very popular and everybody is, mad in that manner with quantitative analysis. When it comes to qualitative, only few individuals are interested. And in India, I don't see so many individuals, focusing on qualitative. So this is one of the initiatives that I have taken up so that they can proceed further.
How nice. Yeah, I'll see.
I have read a few papers, especially from the Department of Political Science, and many papers have been written, qualitative papers.
Hmm.
And now, this particular workshop, I have mostly scholars and faculty members coming from the Department of Management. So,
Okay.
management, I would say qualitative research is a really new area rather than very old one. So, the scholars as well as faculty members, they have got the leverage to write, a lot of papers can be published from India. now I see that scope for them. Looking at narrative reviews or conversational analysis or narrative analysis, discourse analysis. I mean, they are very easy, I would say, and it's only the way you are going to code it and then going to proceed further. Or with film analysis, films have so much of data,
Hmm.
image analysis. These are the areas which I feel scholars can really focus upon. And
Yes.
thanks to pandemic and corona, we have a lot of again data available, which is within the community itself, and a lot of image analysis in that manner. One can really go ahead and control over that resources important. So I think 1 more minute to go, Tamara, and we will start off and let the others join up whenever they feel like, and we can
Yes.
go ahead. So 1 more minute. So have you ever visited to India?
No, unfortunately not.
Ah,
I've hardly ever been outside of Europe,
okay,
but there is still a lot of time to go. Maybe when the pandemic is over, there's gonna be more chance to travel.
okay. Yes, once they start off with the travel permit, then you're most welcome to India.
Thank
I
you.
can be a very good hostess for you in that case.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's the same for
Okay.
you. You can always come visit us in Berlin.
Yes, absolutely. I have a lot of friends in Berlin, in Germany. Okay. Now I think it's exactly 8 o'clock, so we can start off with our session without wasting our time. And good evening to all participants. This is, I mean, I would say one more session which I'm looking forward as a trainer also, and number one with the company itself. I'm very closely associated with the company Worthy Software, which is located in Germany, number one. And I'm very fortunate to, present our master out here today, who is going to take the session for us. Her name is Tamara Pataki. She is a junior manager for community engagement at Verbi Software. And Verbi Software is a company, which launched the software, Maxqda. And we all know that quantitative research cannot be filled up without introducing or working with Maxqda. And she is from Free University Berlin in Germany. So I welcome you, Tamara, to our workshop, and I really appreciate you giving me some of your valuable time tonight and introducing Max QDA. Majority of the participants who are here present today in this particular workshop, they come across from different countries, India, different states are there, Nepal, then I have a few individuals coming from Africa as well as US also, Tamara, in that case. So the floor is all yours, and I welcome you to our workshop also, and you can start. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for this warm welcome, and thank you all for being here. I'm very excited to see so many participants. It's always a pleasure to show and share Max VDA with others. And what I'm planning for today is to give you a presentation of around 45 minutes and give you a short overview of all the tools that MaxQDA offers for qualitative analysis. So MaxQDA is a tool for mixed methods research, and it does offer some functionality for quantitative analysis as well, but I would like to be concentrating on qualitative tools for this time. And I would like to show you how you can import data, how you can use features like coding, paraphrasing, memoing, and how you can use the visual tools to visualize your data and also create reports about it. And then at the end, after my presentation, they're going to be around 15 minutes so that we can discuss your questions and get deeper into some details that are of particular interest for you. Um, During the presentation, I can see the chat. So if you have some issues, can't hear me, I'm going to press, feel free to write it there. I will jump right into it and share my screen with you. I believe right now it takes a bit of time, but I believe right now you can see my screen. And what you can see here is a empty project. It's an empty Maxqda project, and it has this layout of 4 windows. That's an old design, actually has been around since the beginning of the program, since almost 30 years now. And a great thing about Maxqda is that it's identical on Windows and Mac. So right now I'm on a Windows device, but if you are on a Mac device, if you are using Maxqda on Mac, you can see the exact same layout and you have access to the exact same tools. So it offers you the exact same functionality. And the 4 windows that you can see here are the document system. So here later on you will be able to see a list of files, a list of documents that you have in this project and that you can analyze. Then you have a document browser. Here you will be able to see your text, your video, your pictures, etc., and code and edit your data. Then you have a window for your code system, where you will be able to see codes or categories, what you can apply to your data. And then you have a window called Retrieve Segments, and this is where you can find segments for your analysis. I'm going to close that for a second so that we have more place to work, but later on we're going to get back to it. So first, when we start our analysis, we would like to get some data to analyze. A Maxqda project is one single file, it's one database file, and you have to import your project, your data into it, what you would like to analyze. So all data that you would like to work with has to come into the software first. So it's not scrapping something, but it is working with the data that you put into it. And you can import different sorts of things. You can import texts, PDFs, you can work with transcripts, you can work with focus groups, multimedia data, survey data, social media data, data from a reference manager program. So if you are working with Zotero or EndNote, then you can also get data out of that. Let me first import some text so that you can see how that works. So I just hit import and I navigate to the files. And here I will be importing 2 interview documents that I recorded for the sake of this presentation. And if I hit import, as you can see, I got the 2 documents here in the document system. And if I double click on them, they are displayed in the middle in the document browser. I can also use tabs. So if I hit right and I say open document in new tab, then as you can see, we have 2 tabs now and we can work on both of those documents. You can also undock all Maxqda windows. So if you prefer working with different window views, that's also something that you can do. And let's just get some more data. So what about getting some images as well? And let's get a PDF file. So as you can see, just as the text data, the picture and the PDF file also opened in this middle document browser window. So here is the picture and here is the PDF file, which I can scroll and read, etc. One thing I can do in this document system window is I can organize my text. So I can also create a folder and I can group them together. So maybe I would like to have all my interviews organized. I can say here I'm putting my interviews in, I create a new folder and I can drag and drop the documents that should be in this folder. Voila, now I have a more clean view of my data. You can edit your data directly in the document browser. So here I can add some text, and you can also format it. But you can also lock this edit mode. We recommend you that you lock the mode for coding so that you don't end up accidentally changing your data. And let's get into coding, which is the most important analytical feature in Maxqda. And the process of coding means that you are taking some parts of your data, you are reading it, you are looking at it, analyzing it, and you are assigning different categories, tags, etc. to it. We call them codes. So as I'm reading this document, this is an interview about with a person called Selim about his work-life balance. And first he goes on with describing his typical work day. So he says that his typical work day looks like this: wakes up at 5:30 a.m., he takes his kids to school, etc. So maybe I would like to record that this segment of my data is about typical work day. So I can highlight this section, and if I hit new code, then I get this window popping up, and I can say it's about the typical work day. I have a few options here. I can assign a color to this code, which is actually quite interesting, as Maxqda later on in the Visual Tools uses these colors. So you can also play around with it, but you can also think about it analytically and try to come up with ways to organize certain codes together with similar colors. I can also add a code memo. That's something that is particularly useful if you would like to define your code. So I can say every time I read that and that, I would like to apply this code. So here I will just add typical workday of interviewee. But of course, you could add much more sophisticated definitions as well. And if I hit OK, the following thing happened. As you can see, we have this gray section, this green highlight here, and this means that this section is now coded as typical workday, and we also got a code appearing here in the code system. And we can also see the little note that we just added, the typical workday of interviewee. This is a so-called code memo. I can also add a summary on my results, and I can also link similar codes or coded segments to it. So if I go on and read and keep on reading my interview, I have a few options to keep on coding. So here he talks about external appointments. I can do the same as I did before. He talks about external appointments. So let's add that as a code. Let's assign a color. And here I have another color. I have another code appearing. Then he goes on and talks about flexibility. So I can assign that as well. And I can also think about, well, maybe both of these things, flexibility and external appointments, has something to do with his typical workday. So I can then go on and think about, should they be separate codes, or maybe they are lower level concepts of the higher level concept typical workday. So I can also, by drag and dropping, reorganize my code system and decide that a flexibility and external appointments should be subcodes of the typical workday. If I go on later on, I can also drag and drop segments to existing codes. So here has to do something with the appointments again, so I just can drag and drop it to the appointments. I don't have to decide what this part of my data is about, or maybe I'm not sure how I should be coding it at the moment. I can also use the highlighter functions. So here maybe I am using this yellow code to see that, well, this is an interesting section. I don't know where to put it, but it's something that I would like to be reminded later on, then I can also do that. I am also sometimes using these highlighters to indicate interesting parts of the data, so something that has to come in my report because it's so fascinating. Another thing what you can do is that you can also code with emojis. So if I would like to indicate that by this section of the interview, my interview partner was quite happy and laughing at me, I could also say, let's say, code it with this emoji code. But you have a lot of different options here. So if that is something that you would like to be doing, you can also code this way. You can also code segments in vivo. That means that one segment gets coded with itself. That's particularly interesting for the grounded theory method. So if you are in the process of building theory and you really want to proceed in a highly inductive way, then you can also go ahead and do so. You can not only create coded segments in text documents, but you can do the same with pictures as well. So if you take a look at this picture, what I just did for it, I could say that, well, this is something which has to do with flexibility because it shows us a home office, but I don't want to code the whole picture as flexibility, only this certain section. Then I could highlight here the computers, and I could assign only this particular segment of the picture as something that has to do with flexibility. I could also go ahead and do the same for the PDF document. That's an example from literature, but you can go ahead and work with all sorts of PDF documents. And it does the same. You just highlight the section that you would like to code, and you can drag and drop it on one of your existing codes, or you can also use the in vivo coding function. So as you can see, you have quite a few options here to work. You can not only code by manually by reading and coding your data, but you can also use some methods of exploration. So one thing that you could do is you could perform a lexical search. So let's say you are interested in when do these people talk about their friends. Then if I go in the analysis tab and do a search, and I say I'm interested in when they talk about their friend or friends, I could say hit search. And then here I get the results of where all my, whenever the term friend or friends appeared in my project. So I can read this list. I can see that here it was found in all of my documents, as well as in the secondary literature, as well as in my interviews. And I can decide which of these findings are interesting for me. So here I can see what about friends. That's something that actually the interviewer said. So maybe I would like to exclude these results. Then that's something what I can do from this window. But if I'm not sure about what the segment is about, well, is this something that the interviewer is saying? I can also click on it, and then it takes me to the section of the document in the background. So that's actually an interactive window which jumps back and forth between my documents. So if I decided what is it that I would like to code, I can hit this symbol here, and it creates a new code, an autocode. It names it autocode, so that I know how this code was created. I can do the same thing. I can assign a color as well, and if I hit OK, I can also decide what parts of my data I would like to be coding. So am I interested in maybe coding only the search item, or would I like to code a sentence or a paragraph? I'm gonna choose sentence for both my PDF documents and text for this time. And as you can see, the following things happened. Maxqda coded 18 segments. There were 19 hits. They were that were found in my data, but I excluded one. So at the end, it coded 18 segments. If I click on this code now, I also get a list of these coded segments where I can again read what was coded and browse through it. Another way how I can explore and autocode my data, if I someone was writing about the internet. I don't know if my internet is all right. Can you all hear me? Maybe you could write it in the chat if I am okay, Ramani. I hope I am audible.
Well, absolutely fine, Tamara. And
Okay.
after 1 hour, what we can do, we can pick up some of the questions.
Yeah, we can also discuss questions about coding. Yeah, here's also one question. What is the
There
use of
is,
similar code?
yes.
I am not sure about this question. Maybe the participant could pose it to me. What do you mean by similar code?
I mean, I think in between when you were, started off with the coding, you use the word similar code. So you maybe in the conversation, you meant that adding another code or, the word which looks quite same as the code that you have generated. Maybe you were referring to that at that moment.
There is a tab similar
Okay,
code.
so she's also adding that there was a tab of similar code. So she is asking you about that. Did you use the similar code tab at the beginning of the coding itself?
I'm not sure. So what am I doing? I am highlighting something, and then I can
Maybe
do a
we
new
can see
code.
later on. We can
Yeah.
come again. Maybe you can continue from where you have left. It was at the beginning only. So maybe we can pick up after every half an hour to see
Yeah.
kind of questions are coming in to us again. Okay?
Let's do that. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sorry
Thank
about
you.
it.
Yes.
Probably gonna come back to my mind what I meant by similar codes.
Yes.
I think maybe it had to do something with grouping codes. So I have one higher level code, and then I have subcodes of it. But the way how you are organizing it, it totally depends on you. So you can decide for yourself where are the similarities and where are the differences between your coding. So this is something that is not prescribed by the software, but something that you can decide however it makes sense for your analysis. And another thing what I wanted to show you was how you can explore data by creating a word cloud. So something that I could do is I could click on my interviews and create a word cloud. And here I get a cloud of all words that appear frequently in my documents here. So what I can see here is that my interview partners were talking about time, friends, etc. most frequently. I can also apply a stoplet so that I can exclude results like the, that, have, etc. But here I can see some interesting results. So what I can see that they very often talked about appointments, past 12 hits, they talked about time. And what I can do from this window, I can also decide that I would like to auto-code it. So if I would like to add a code to family, I could hit write on it, and I can apply a new code. So it gives me the same window as I got before when I was doing the lexical search. And I think this is a very good way if you are not not sure what you're gonna find in your text, you are not sure what you wanna look for, so you don't really know with what terms you could perform a lexical search. Then the word cloud is an ideal tool to get like a first impression of your data or the topics that are most frequently mentioned in these interviews. So I would like to show you some more analytical tools and something more what we can do with this data. And for that, I will switch to another project. And when you download Maxqda, it also comes with example projects. So if you would like to play a bit with the functionalities of the software, if you would like to try it out, you can also do that on one of these projects. I will work on the English language work-life balance project for this presentation, but we also have projects available on different languages. Maxqda uses Unicode, so that means that you can have data in any languages, and you can also do word cloud searches or any sort of lexical searches on other languages. So it doesn't need to be English, German, or etc. You can do it with other languages. And someone in the chat is asking me if the word cloud was the outcome of the coding. No, it wasn't. It was an outcome of the words, of the word frequencies in the documents. So not regarding what I coded before, it looked at what are the most frequent words in my text data. So that was what we could see. And let me for a minute show you around in this project. So here, as you can see, we have much more data than in the ones what we just saw. We have multiple texts here, and we also have a much more defined code system. And what you can see that I have these tiny sticky notes. You have these tiny sticky notes all around the project. So you have so the memos that I showed you before can not only add it to the code system here, but they can also be added to documents. So here, for example, there is a note on where the interview with Selim took place, how the interviewer summarized the interview afterwards, etc., and what are the most important quotes that appear here. You can also sort these memos by defining tags. So something what you could do is you could say, well, this is something which is interesting, so I'm going to give it an exclamation mark, or something that has to do with my theory can be assigned a T. Another thing what you can do is if you have multiple coders or multiple people working on your data, you can also define it by their names. So maybe everything what I added has the name Tamara added to them, but maybe there's another coder, my friend, and then I say all the green parts or the green memos I added by Sana. You can do that, as I mentioned, on documents, but you can also add memos in the text itself. So here, if I would like to record this is something that is particularly relevant for my project, I can do that. Or maybe I have a question which I need to clarify later. I could just say insert memo for this selection, and I could say clarify later. You also have a view where you can see all these memos at a glance. So if I go on the memo step here and select all memos, I can then get this view where I can see what are the elements where I assign memos. So I can see all my code memos here, and I can click through and read it. So these are all the codes that contain memos. I can also see where in my documents did I assign these notes, so I don't have to go through my whole project and search for these things, but I can see them here at a glance. And another good feature is that I can also search in them. So if I'm not sure where I noted something or what was that exactly about, then I can just do this search in Memos function, and then I can find the notes that I took previously. There are other ways to take notes in Maxqda, and one of that would be to comment on coded segments. So if I double click on a coded segments, then I can comment on this particular segment. So as opposition to a memo, this is something that talks about not the segment itself, but the connection of the code to the segment. So maybe I am not sure if it belongs here. Maybe when I was going and coding, I wasn't sure if I should apply another code to this and I would like to record this information, then I can also do that. Another thing, how I can also apply my notes on my data is by paraphrasing. And that is something that is done in a similar way as coding, but has a different functionality because it doesn't record categories, but it rather allows me to summarize certain parts of my text. And if I go on the analysis tab and I turn on the paraphrase function, you can see instead of my coding, so it had all these stripes before, now I can see a very different view. I can see these paraphrases in the side of the document. So this is a document which is already paraphrased. Here I summarized every answer to this participant on the side. Let me show you how it goes maybe on Salim's or Tan's example. Yeah, this has no paraphrases on it. So if I start reading this document, I can highlight it. And now instead of, if the paraphrases function is turned on, now instead of being able to code it, I get this paraphrases window. And I can go ahead and summarize what my participant is saying here. So I can see that she first does sports. She's talking about her work-life balance again. She does sport, eats breakfast, etc. So I could get it. I could give it back with my own ideas. And then you can see now this paraphrases appeared on the side. So I could go ahead and paraphrase the whole interview this way. And one thing that this paraphrases is also particularly good for is that you can also add paraphrases to audio data. So if you are, let's say, working with an interview that you don't really want to transcribe, so maybe it's not that relevant that it's worth making the whole transcription. One thing that you could do is that, and here I'm showing you an example for an interview that has some audio data linked to it. And what you could do is that here, if you switch to paraphrases, you can also paraphrase the audio data itself. So here we can see that in this section of the audio, Matteo is talking about being self-employed and teaching English classes. So instead of having to go through and transcribe the whole thing, I can use it to take some notes and to paraphrase the data I have. And what you can do with these afterwards is that you can also code these paraphrases. So you have all these paraphrase segments recorded in one place. And what you can do is you can say that you would like to categorize them. And it's a second, I believe. Yes, but it's here. And if you hit that, you get this window where you have a display of your code system, your paraphrases, the documents where these paraphrases appear, and your codes. And here, as you can see, this is from the audio data from Matteo. And here I can code these segments, so I don't have to I don't have to go back to the original data, but I can go ahead and assign codes to the paraphrases what I created. So here he talks about, again, his typical workday. So let's record that as typical workday. Then he talks about flexibility. So let's add the code flexibility to that. And as you can see, I have all these paraphrases being assigned a code now. Let me take some questions regarding paraphrases and coding, because as I can see, there are already some questions in the chat.
Yes, there are plenty of them, in fact.
Could you help me out?
Okay, 1 second.
And
I'll just
yeah,
pick up the questions and read out for you, Tamara.
thank you.
After the last question, um, there was one more question that was asked: is word cloud outcome of those few coding that you have done till now when you were showcasing the word cloud? She wanted to ask is the word cloud is the result of the entire coding that you have done at that time?
The word cloud is a result of uh, the frequency of the words that appear in the document. So it's not the coding, but the frequency of the actual words that are in the text.
Yes, that's what she wanted to ask you. You have created that word cloud with the coding that you were doing, correct?
That
No.
doesn't depend on the code. You don't have to code the data in order to be
Okay.
in order to create a word cloud. So you can do that independently from the coding.
Right. And one more thing, another question that came up is what is the difference between memos, notes, and paraphrasing?
Uh, I use the term memos and notes interchangeably. So memoing is just a note-taking tool, and paraphrasing is something that refers to one segment of your data and only one segment of your data. And this is something what paraphrases, what gives back the segment of the data with your own words. So this is something what only what is your reformulation of the text that you are reading. And
Okay.
technically, from Maxqda's standpoint, paraphrases are also sort of codes, but that's something that's just from a technical point of view. So this is why they are also displayed in
Right.
the code system here.
Right. And one more question that came up is can we add a sentence or segment or object, whatever you call it, in more than one coding?
Yes, yes. So you can assign multiple codes to one segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, before next question, Tamara, is before creating code, we have to frame segment. Am I correct? Is there something called as framing the segment also?
This is how I was doing it. Yes, that I was highlighting the segment before, but you actually don't have to do that. So uh, you can also create the codes. You can also create the code directly in the code system. So if I just hit this plus here, I can create a new code. Let's say uh, category. Sorry, I cannot think of something better right now. And it's going to appear here with 0 coded segments. So it doesn't have to contain a coded segment. You can also have empty codes that you can create from the code system itself.
Okay. Right. Now, the other question is after that, they have asked out here is if there's any concept of subgroup or subcoding also, like, after
Uh,
creating a code, do we have the concept of subgroup of coding or subcoding, the next level of the codes? That's what they're asking.
yeah, you can create a hierarchical code system.
Okay.
So here, as you can see, you have work-life balance on the first level, and you have subcodes: education, friends, family. And you can also have up to 10 hierarchical levels. and how you are applying these codes. So you can work with the higher level codes, but also with the subcodes, and how you are applying them, whether or not you are applying only the subcodes or also the higher level codes. It's independent. It's totally dependent on you. So Maxqda doesn't give you any prescriptions there.
Sure. Now, next question is, Tamara, does it do automatic paraphrasing as well, like suggestive paraphrasing? Do we have
Mm,
something like that here?
That's a very good suggestion, but unfortunately it doesn't do it. So Maxqda doesn't have an AI or anything similar that can go through and read your data and suggest you what it's about. It can, yeah, unfortunately it cannot do that. You have to read and say what it's about.
Okay. So I think that's the end of the question still now. Okay, one more question popped up. Can we equate code to a variable?
Mm, I'm not sure what you mean by equating, but let me show you the variables and then we can come back to this. So that's actually the next thing what I had on my list to show you, because in Maxqda, what you do is you code some. Uh, what you do is that you code some segments of your data. So a code is something that appears more frequently in your document, that only refers to one part of your document. But you can also add variables, and that is something what refers to the whole document as a unit. So if we take the case of Matteo, uh, that's an interview with him, and he talks about different topics like his workday, flexibility, childcare that comes up multiple times in the text. So these are coded multiple times. And then you have, but if you would like to record maybe his age or his marital status, etc., that you can do it in forms of variables. And if I right click on the documents and click on variables, I get this view where I can see the demographic data to him. So I can see that he's in a partnership, he doesn't have any children, his highest level of education is a bachelor's degree, etc. And these are categories or these are variables that you can define yourself. So you can decide what the variables are that you would like to work with, and you can add any sort of information that you would like to record here. One thing that you can do in Maxqda is that you can transform the number of coded segments into a variable. So if I am interested in how often did I code the code friends and family throughout my interviews, I could say that I would like to transform it into a document variable. And what happened here is I get a view where I have all my interview partners. So that's a huge window here, but as you can see here, I have my interview partners, Matteo, Selin, Riley, Tan, Chris, etc. And at the very end of this list, Maxqda added me a number for these interview partners, and that is the number of time, how often I applied the code friends and family in this document. So I can see that Matteo was talking 3 times about friends and family, Celine was talking 7 times about friends and family. So um, this would be something how you can get from a code to a document variable. I'm not sure if this answers the question of equating. So maybe you can let me know in the chat later on if that answered
Yes.
your question,
There
Karan.
is one more question which has come up. She asked about the similar code. Can you please take that question as well?
Sure.
What
I'm
is
not still not sure what you are referring to. Can you please rephrase this question? I'm not sure what you mean by similar codes.
okay? maybe she can come back again and later on she can question you again.
Yeah.
Fine.
I
Then we
am
can,
more than happy to take it. I'm just really not sure what you are referring to.
sure. So you can continue now, Tamara. Thank you.
No problem. So I also wanted to show you some options for visualization. We have already seen the word cloud briefly, but I would like to show you some additional options how you can visualize your data. And one tool, what is quite interesting, is the Code Matrix browser. And what it does is that it shows me the relations of codings that appear in different documents. And for that, I have to activate the data that I would like to query. And you can think of this activation as something like setting a filter in Excel. So this is when I am highlighting some of the data what I'm interested in, what I'm especially interested in. So here, if I click on this dot next to my Berlin interviews, then they all turn red. That means that they are active, they are being queried at the moment. So if I would be interested in what did my interview partners in Berlin told me about their work situation, what I could do is I could highlight the Berlin interviews, and so I could activate them, and I could also activate the code's work situation. And then if I hit the Code Matrix browser and I say I'm interested in the activated documents and activated codes, then I get a view of when Matteo, Selim, Riley, Chris, and Tan were talking about uh, their work situation and what and who talked about what how often. And I can also switch to a numerical value. So what I can see here is that Selim was talking about um the amount of hours he's working quite often. Here I also have a display of the segments. Then Riley was talking about 4 times about the amount of hours she has to work. Then I can also compare that Tan was only mentioning flexibility 1 times, but Matteo mentioned flexibility 4 times actually. And if I would like to get to these specific segments when they are talking about it, then this is when the retrieve segments window comes to play, what I closed in the beginning. And if I go back to the home tab, and I can get the retrieve segments window back. And here what I can see is that this window is also interactive. So if I would like to see these exact 4 segments, when Matteo talks about flexibility, if I click on this 4, I get these 4 segments displayed here. So I get a part of the coded audio data, but I can also read the parts of the interview when he was talking about flexibility. If I am searching for this one place when Tan was talking about workplace and career, I can also do that. So that would be one tool that allows you to read and compare the results of your coding as well. You have quite a number of visual tools, and one way to also collect the results so that you don't have to create and recreate these views is to work with the so-called question themes and theories window. And this is a workspace where you can collect the results of your analysis. It takes a moment to appear, yeah, because I'm sharing my screen and then it always takes a bit of time, but here it is. So here what I can do is I can collect my findings. So I can collect all the codes that I'm deemed interesting and can add some notes on it. So I can also reflect on what I think about these codes. I can do the same for the important segments. Here I have all the important segments showing up, and I can also comment that. I can do that for summary tables, memos. I can do that for visuals. So I can not only create visualizations like the Code Matrix browser or this profile comparison chart, here you have an example of the code matrix browser. But you can also have this space in Maxqda to reflect it and to add your comments on it. You can also create concept maps. So here are some examples for that. This map shows you a comparison between the documents of Selim and Anna. What are the codes that they have in common? And again, it gives you a section to talk about it. And the great thing about this tool is that you can also export it. So if I, let's say, would like to export it as a to use it for my reports or to send it to someone who doesn't use Maxqda, I can also do that. And then I get a Word document that contains all the results of my analysis. It again takes some time to show up. It should be coming. And this is the result of the export. So after taking all the after coding all the segments and doing all these reflections, this is an example for a report that I can get out of Maxqda, and then I can go and share with others. You can export not only from these questions, themes, and theories, but also from any other part of the software. So you can save all the visual tools as images, but you can also save the results of the retrieve segments window. So if I, let's say, want to see what my interview partners from Berlin told me about their work-life separation, and I would like to export these 7 coded segments, then I can also go ahead and do that in either to a Word format or to an Excel sheet. So Maxqda never locks in your data. It always lets you export into another software. So these are the topics what I wanted to talk about today, and these are all the functions what I had time to mention. Of course, Maxqda has a number of different features and very robust analytical capabilities, so that I can't even summarize it in 1 hour. But I wanted to show you our resources. So if you are interested in more functions, then you can find out about them in our website, and we have a number of resources for free. We have video tutorials, we have a YouTube channel, and these video tutorials are a wonderful way to get into Maxqda and also to try out everything what I showed you quite fast today. So no worries if you can't remember where to click everywhere, you can always find it out. And you can also attend a webinar or a workshop. We also offer free webinars, so if that's something you are interested in, you can do that. And we have a complete documentation of all functions of Maxqda in the website. So here in the online manual, you can read about all the functions what I mentioned, and you also have extended screenshots to that. So that's it from my side, and now I will take the remaining questions.
Yes, now there is one more question that has come up. Can we use Maxqda for quantitative research as well?
Yes. So I have showed you the variable functions. So this is somewhere where you can also collect quantitative data, and then you have the option to work with to perform mixed method studies. So you can integrate the results of the qualitative and the quantitative findings. You can make cross tabs or typology tables, but you also have some additional tools. So everything I showed you until now was available in Maxqda standard, but we have different add-ons. So if you purchase Maxqda Plus, it also comes with the Maxdictio module, and this has a dictionary-based content analysis tool where you can also perform quantitative content analysis, and you also have an option with Maxqda Analytics Pro to perform more statistical analysis. So this then comes up in an additional window. It's a software add-on, and then it gives you the chance to do descriptive statistics, regression analysis, correlations, etc. So this is also something that you can do.
Right. Now, the question that she was asking about the similar code is, when you were coding initially, when you started coding, you named the coding and there were two boxes below it when you were
Mm-hmm.
coding. Okay. And when those two boxes came in, the first one was of similar code, and the second one, she says she does not remember what was it. So that's why she was asking you, at that stage when you started, coding part, and you maybe you had gone ahead and you clicked on it. So, coding, and there were two boxes below that particular code. So she says that she saw the first one as similar code, and the other one she says she does not remember. So maybe we will have to start off with the coding
Hmm.
again.
Or maybe you refer to if I open a code memo, that would be a memo on the work-life balance. Then you can link codes to each other. And maybe here I talked about similar codes. So what you can do is that you could say that you would like to link codes together, and then you can drag and drop a list of codes here. That is only a function that um, lets you record if there is a connection between your codes from a theoretical standpoint, but that's not a function that um, so it doesn't give you a map or something, but it lets you link codes in the memo itself. Is that something that
That could be the
uh,
one. Now, the next question is, Tamara, how and in which situations we use retrieve segment or browser?
mhm. So the retrieve segments window lets you view uh, lets you view coded segments that are coded with the codes that are activated from the documents that are activated. So every time when I would like to find out where where was this code applied in my data, then I can read it here in the retrieve segments window. So if I, let's say, interested in where Arne talked about salary and budgeting, he didn't talk about that. There are 0 segments here, but I assume he talked about flexibility. Yeah. So I activated Arne and I activated flexibility, and then I can see all the segments where Arne talked about flexibility. So that would be a situation when I'm using the retrieve segments window.
Okay. Next question is, I want to ask, if one phrase is appearing in multiple papers or interview, can we code it at a single go?
Mm-hmm.
I'm repeating
So
the question again. The person is asking you, if there is one typical phrase, okay, which is appearing in, let's say, multiple research papers or the interviews which have been conducted, can we code it as at a single go, or do we have to again think about it?
you can do it with the autocoding function. So when I was performing the search, I had the option to search only within the activated documents, but I can also search in all of the documents. So the search what I did, that also searched in all of the documents, and then I could say that I am searching for this term in all the documents in my whole project. So that's something you can do, yes.
Right. Now, there is one more question. Is it possible that you can show us coding of images only and what are the immediate results? So they wanted to see an example of image analysis actually.
So here is an image, and that's coded with domestic work, organization, and maybe we can also code it with, what's this one here, flexibility. And now if I activate my images here, then this is how it looks like. So I activated the images and I activated flexibility. So I'm asking the question, where in my images did I apply the code flexibility? And I can see that that was this section. And here, the section of the image also appears in the retrieve segments window. And as you can see, it's not the whole image, only the only this particular segment that was coded as flexibility. And if I activate all my codes, so I'm posing the question, what did I code, or where did codes appear in my documents images, then I can see all the image segments that were assigned a code. Let me make it a bit bigger so that you have a better view. And then here I can see work situation. This was coded as work-life separation, etc. So it gives you all the sections that were coded. Yes, that's my answer. Can you pose me the next question?
Yes, we have one more question, which they are asking us, how can we use triangulation in Maxqda?
I am not sure what you mean by triangulation here.
Mixed methods research, Tamara. They're talking about,
Yes.
in mixed methods, when we are combining both qualitative and quantitative. So they wanted to find out how we are going to combine both of them together in Maxqda.
So these are what the mixed methods tools are for. You have different options here. So
You
here
can
you can get examples of where here, for example, if I can activate documents by variables. Let me reset the activations. And one thing what I could do is here, I could say that I would like to only activate those respondents who have more than one children. So here I select respondents with more than one children. I say activation. And as I can see here, two of my interview partners got activated, Selim and David. But this project also contains a number of survey responses. They also got activated. So those who have more than one children got activated. And then I could say, what do they tell me about domestic work? And then I could read the sections. What did these people tell me about domestic work who had more than one children? So that would be one. That would be one example. Another would be the cross tab. Let me reset the activations again. And something what you can do here is that if you list all the variables, so I have a list of again, using the example, the number of children. So I would like to look at coded segments sorted according to the number of children, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me only do that for the activated documents here, otherwise we get too big of a table. And then I can integrate my coding with these variables. And here what I got is a table showing me how often was the code, were these codes applied when these variables also applied. So for example, those with 2 children talked about friends and family 4 times. Those with 3 children talked about their typical day 2 times. Those with 1 children talked about childcare 10 times. And if I click on it, that's an interactive window as well. So all the segments come up in the retrieve segments window as well. And here I can also read these segments when those with 1 child talked about childcare. So this would be some examples of the mixed methods analysis that you can do, but it again has a lot of different ways to do that, and we have some webinars on our YouTube channel where all the mixed methods tools are presented.
Okay. And the next question is, can we make word cloud while writing systematic literature review? For example, if I want to analyze countries in which all the empirical studies have been conducted regarding one particular variable, can I code country and get the word cloud of all the papers?
Yes, you could do that. And the way how you would do that is that you can create document sets out of variables, and then you could say that you would like to have a word cloud for only that document set. So I can't really do that. Because I don't have the data right now, but that's something that you could definitely do. YouTube
Okay.
channel of Maxqda, yes, you do have it. You do have the. Sorry, I jumped ahead. This was the question. I'm sorry.
All right. Now, one more question is, what are images analyzed for? The question is, how can we interpret something out of a picture, and how can we be sure that there is no flaw in my interpretation? See, her
Oh, I don't.
question is, yes.
I don't think I can answer that.
Okay. The answer,
I don't think I can tell you how to interpret
okay.
the yeah.
Then I have one more question coming up, and that is, what type of qualitative research methodology, whether it is content, sentiment, narrative, discourse, discursive, etc. Okay, number one. So, are we going to look into, I mean, is there any label given to the qualitative research methodology when we are talking about content, sentiment, narrative, discourse, discursive, etc.?
I don't think that Maxqda has a particular method. So Maxqda can be used for all different methodological approaches. As you can see, you can do mixed methods and quantitative analysis with that as well. But I have used it for qualitative evaluations. I have used it for qualitative content analysis, and I have used it for a discourse analysis as well. So it really depends on the design of your study, and Maxqda is really just a tool that you can then use for different sorts of studies that you would like to pursue.
Right. Now, one more question that he has asked is, can streaming video or audio can also be analyzed in Maxqda?
Yes, you can also analyze video or audio data. I have shown an example for an audio briefly, but let me get back to it quickly. So here you have an interview that is a transcript that is linked to an audio data. And if you launch this audio data, then you have this multimedia browser, and you can also code or paraphrase that or take memos directly in this window. So you can also analyze here, and the same applies for videos as well.
Okay. The question, I think, Tamara, what they wanted to ask in this particular question is, we have Twitter data, we have got YouTube videos, right? So if that video is streaming continuously, so can I import it into Maxqda and analyze it?
You have the chance to import Twitter data. We have a plugin with Twitter where you can log into your Twitter account and import tweets according to hashtags, etc. So you and then you get a result that looks something like um, this. So it imports tweets as a table, and then you can see the author, you can see the language it was on, and the hashtags that were assigned, etc. And yeah, it starts with the tweet, then you get the hashtags, and then you get the links. So you can import like this, and you can also perform a sentiment analysis on this Twitter data. So that's possible. And then from YouTube, you actually can only import the comments. So you can, of course, import the video itself, but because it's legally it's quite challenging how to download videos from YouTube because it's not always allowed and you don't have the rights, etc. So what you can do is you can either get permission to download that video or you can get the video on your way. And then Maxqda allows you to import all the comments. So what you could do is you could have the video linked as I showed you before with the audio. And then here you would have a view where you can look at all the all the comments. But because videos are very often protected by intellectual rights, you cannot just simply import them into Maxqda. Yeah.
Right. Then the question is one more. On what basis any segment of the picture is selected?
That's a selection what you can do. So you decide when coding it what part of the picture you would like to select. You can also select the whole thing. I just wanted to show you that it's possible to highlight only one section of the picture, but that's your decision.
Okay. And then what is the outcome of this coding of the picture? How and what will we be showing in the article? For example, if I'm doing image analysis of a picture, then after the analysis, how and what text should be shown in the article? What all things should be reported? In other words, Tamara, let's say you have analyzed a picture, okay,
That's
an
again,
image.
sorry, go ahead.
Yes, so she's asking you what should be reported in the publication paper or the research paper.
That's again a methodological question that highly depends on your research question or what you would like to use it for. So the word is your oyster, and it really depends on your method and your field. So I
Right,
can't really help you.
good. Now, one more question is, as you shown us a network, can we give the weightage to all the branches, like weightage, like correlation? Like you have shown the network of the codes, right? What he's asking you is, can we go ahead and give the weightage for all the different network branches which are there?
Um, you can get you can give them numbers. And I
Yes.
think that you can also, so here I showed you the example of the two case number, and here you can see that they have numbers according to how often they were coded. So here negative was coded 11 times, friends and family 7 times. So you do have this weightage here. And you can also I don't know if I have a good example here, but you can also have the option where you can select that the strengths of these lines, so how thick or thin this line is, reflects the number of times it was coded. So you can also do that.
Okay. And one more question that is coming up is, let me see, YouTube. Okay, is there any YouTube channel of Maxqda?
Yeah, and I just searched for the link before, so I'm posting the link in the chat, and you can also access that from the here. The video tutorials what we have are actually the embedded from our YouTube channel. So if you click on it that you would like to view it on YouTube, that's in German at the moment, but uh, you just click on the YouTube symbol here, and that takes you to our YouTube channel. And here you can see the webinars and the tutorials what we have at the moment.
And one more question which has come up, Tamara, is can we create data in Maxqda through Excel sheets?
Yes, you can also import data from Excel sheets. You can use it to create to import surveys, but you can also import document variables from an Excel sheet. So if you look at the view how the document variables are organized, that's a table like this. So I have the document group here, I have the names of the documents, I have single variables, etc. And then you can also import this whole thing from an Excel sheet. So you don't have to edit it in Maxqda, although you can, but you don't have to. You can also get it from an Excel table.
Okay. Now, one more question is, can we use Maxqda for other languages apart from English?
Yes, you can. Maxqda works with Unicode. That means that it recognizes any sort of characters, and you can also create word clouds or code or do lexical searches if you are working with other languages. I've used it for Hungarian. That works pretty fine, and we have a number of users who also use it for Arabic, so it can also work with other characters very well.
Right. Now, next question is, if you have said answer to this question as yes, what are the publication purposes we have to publish research in English? So can Maxqda helpful in translation of transcript or data in other languages or both?
Max, unfortunately, Maxqda doesn't offer
See,
in
right
any.
now we have everything in English language, right? What he's asking is Maxqda helpful in translation of the transcripts or data in other languages?
Doesn't have any translation capabilities. So the data stays in the language how you inputted it. So if you input everything in English, it stays in English. If you input everything in German, it stays German.
Okay. Now, next question is, can you please share some research papers or articles which were written using Maxqda?
Mm-hmm. We do have, I can gladly do that. We do have a publisher, and you can get to our publisher called Maxqda Press from our website. Let me just share this link in the chat as well. And you can download any of these books for free as an ebook. And one book that I would particularly recommend you is this Practice of Data Analysis. And that is a book that contains different research articles that were where the analysis was done by using Maxqda. So I think if you are interested in what can Maxqda do for different disciplines, then that is a very good resource to do so.
So I think a trial version is available for how many months? Okay, Neha, I have a news for all of you. Maybe after the session, I'll be answering for that question. I think I will let them know, Tamara, what me, yourself, and Akikokul had a word. So I can go ahead and I will answer this question to them. Any other
Yes.
question that you have got, you can ask them. Ask her right now. She's here. So, it's good. So we have so much of information with us. Are there any questions for Tamara more participants? You can let us know in the chat box and we can take it up. Otherwise, it's a working day for her. Okay, I don't see any more questions here coming up, Tamara. That's the end of the question and the session also. You have answered all the questions. Thanks a lot for giving us some of your valuable time. I really appreciate it about that. And I will definitely get back to you if in case we have more questions from here. I'll collect them and I will be mailing it to you directly, Tamara. Okay, in that
Yes,
case. So,
definitely.
yes, thanks a lot for joining us up, and I really appreciate it. In that
Yeah.
manner, thank you. Thanks a lot, Tamara. Take care and have a wonderful day too. Okay?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the participation. I am very, very happy to see so many people here. So
Yes,
usually I
that's right.
have much smaller groups. And if you have any questions, yes, go ahead, ask me anytime. You know how to reach me, and I wish you guys a wonderful time and
Yes,
have a very
absolutely.
successful session.
Yes, we would definitely invite you once again, Tamara, in that case. All right. So thank you. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
You too. Goodbye.
Bye bye. Okay. Thank you, all of you. It was a wonderful interaction with each one of you. To be very honest, to some of you, like Neha, you are going to get most probably either tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I have sent them the information about all of you regarding your mail IDs and everything. They would be getting back to us with the username and the passwords, and for 20 days you will be getting the access to the latest version of Maxqda. Okay, in fact, they were thinking that I, as a trainer, can go ahead and give it to you, the access to my username and the password, so that each one of you can use it completely to your this thing. And most probably coming Wednesday, when we don't have any other session, most probably either Wednesday or Thursday, I would be taking you back to MaxQDA, and we will be working more like. Apurva was asking certain questions. Abhishek was asking some questions like image analysis, doing how to do the review of literature. All those things are the small, small activities. It doesn't take much time. What we can do once we get that username and the password, I would be sharing it. All of you can open up. I would sit on my laptop, and with my data, I would be working. I will ask you to work with your data, or I will share my data, whatever we have got, let's say for audio analysis, video analysis, then coming for a review of literature, we can do, or literature review as we are thinking, and maybe content analysis or thematic, any one of them, and one traditional quantitative methodology which is there, we can start up with that also. So this may be on Wednesday or Thursday. In 2 hours, I think we would be able to complete it in order to see how the codes are being generated, how to understand them, how if I want one more. Those small, small things, if I'm able to show in one way, then, you can go ahead and keep practicing more and more with the other methodologies which are there in our this thing for the software in that manner. So that's one thing that I wanted to tell you. And there was one more question which I saw that some of you were asking. I think I don't remember it. Let me just see. And I said that I will get back to you. Abhishek, yes, Abhishek. I think it was you who was asking. No, it was somebody else who was asking about the mixed methodologies. Mixed methodologies is a very time consuming. That's why she did not. It's a working day for her also side by side, so she has to rush back. Thing is that definitely yes, when there are four varieties of mixed methodologies, and I haven't yet given to you the information about it. Triangulation is just one part of it, and in the triangulation also, and that's why she was just looking, whether she should go ahead and discuss about the triangulation. So she thought it's a better way is that I simply say not at this moment, because there are three varieties of triangulations, the way, and that's why the moment she heard triangulation, she kept quiet. You see, in qualitative analysis, whenever we are adopting or implementing one of the approaches, we have to be absolutely clear, as I told you. Like if mixed methodology, fine, I can understand that you are planning to do both qualitative and the quantitative, and you have specified it has to be a triangulation. Now, when the triangulation is there, again, the question arises, which of the three triangulations are we going to talk about? So, Maxqda has the leverage for all the three and all varieties of the mixed methodology approaches also side by side. So we will see which one is quite useful. So just wait for maybe next week. When I will be starting off with that, I would be explaining to you, okay, in this manner. Now, Apurva, your question on images which are going to be there. See, qualitative interpretation is actually highly subjective by nature. Okay, now if you say that in at the beginning only that yes, my interpretation will have some kind of error, we will have to understand that how that particular image that you are going to look into or observe it has to be properly interpreted, and not only properly interpreted, however, with the kind of the analysis that you are going to come up with. So Transana gives you a better leverage to enter deeply with the image analysis. When you come to the Maxqda, it is that you are looking at that particular image, okay, and you give your interpretation. And remember, this is a qualitative, so your all alone will not be doing the qualitative. Here, the team emphasis is always important. And even in Maxqda, let's say you, myself, and let's say Yasha, and even Kanika, all four of us are there together. Now, I would go ahead, I will do my coding, you will do your coding, Kanika will do her coding, and let's say even Yasha does her coding. Ultimately, we will have to combine all of them together and see between four of us, is there any biasness? Please do not forget the background rules that you have got for your interpretation when you are working. With qualitative, you alone are not working. You are working with a team. Now, when you are working with a team, if you are having, so, we will sit together and we will see, okay, the way we are looking, first if you are doing all alone, you would not be labeled or, going ahead with the qualitative research. You are more into the quantitative. So, if you are in qualitative and you are analyzing the image, then, whatever you have done, it has to be cross-checked so that the biasness is removed, and then you go ahead with the final interpretation. And that's how codings, then the subcodings, memos, and the notes come into the picture, and we will see how to take care about it also side by side. And remember, the background works are also more than important. What is outside may not be inside also side by side. Okay, so
Okay,
with
ma'am.
those,
Thank you.
yes, with image analysis, video analysis, audio analysis, remember that qualitative, never single person. It has to be a group. Minimum 3 people are necessary to go ahead and look into it, basically. Okay, and there was one more question. Now you see, before this, first of all, YouTube channel of, okay, that she has given to you already. You can have a look. Neha, Maxqda is also similar like your SPSS and everything. Here also we can import the data. You see, images are there. In fact, we didn't have so much of time to go through the entire, I would say, interface of Maxqda. again, I wanted her to showcase, so she has shown the mota kind of a thing for us. Maybe in the coming week, if I'm going to take up further, this one will be explained to you slowly, and then you would be able to. So one of you can import only PDFs, other can import Excel sheets. Now, in fact, importing PDF is also not allowed so much. However, you can. Word is there, Excel is there, so that Word, if you import it, what happens is that even importing the data also, they are very particular, because you will have to go ahead and do the coloring part, capturing the coding system, or retrieving whatever is important reading. So Word in that way turns out to be very good. However, if it is the numeric data that you are talking about, Excel, yes. So CSV, all those files are also available for us in that manner. So we will see all these things later on, and I will be. And Buddhadev, I think, I don't know whether you are there right now or you have left the session.
I'm there, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, Buddhadev, other languages, in the sense that if data is available in the other languages, you can go ahead and you can take care. However, what she was talking about is that the entire coding to be done in different languages, like let's say I'm analyzing, I have imported my data. However, if I have to key the words in other languages, that's what she said, no, that is not possible. However, importing the data from the other languages is possible for you. Okay, so that is one thing.
Okay, ma'am.
And
Thank you, ma'am.
yes, Maxqda helpful in translation of the transcripts. Yes, because there are certain methodologies, again, in which you can go ahead and on the other day, I think when I had introduced, I think in this only Maxqda, I showed you these timestamp and the other softwares which were available exclusively for the transcription. So transcription in other languages is also possible in Maxqda, and that's why I love Maxqda in that way. You can. And however, coding part of it, everything you will have to do it in English language only, and you can translate. You can translate it and then import them into Maxqda, and you can go ahead with that one. And you will see it's a very burdening kind of a thing, I'm telling you, when you are entering the transcripts basically coming from the other languages, translating them. So it's always better that you translate it beforehand and make your work life comfortable. And you will see maybe later on when I'll be showcasing to you the entire Maxqda, you would be able to understand in that manner. Okay. And
Thanks, sir.
Apurva,
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
yes, you're most welcome. Apurva, your question, how it should be written, interpretation and everything. Let me tell you, qualitative papers, if you look, there is no artificiality. Whatever you are thinking in your mind, it has to come on the papers. It's not like, you have got the Nancy Leach's book in front of you, and then you are looking at how to write the interpretation and everything. Now, remember that in qualitative, the more natural you are in writing your research paper, the better scope for publishing them more and more. So, because you are working with your data, you know your data very well. You don't have to, rely on others. You have to rely on yourself and then start noting them. And you will see majority of the papers, they are in the natural way, whether it is narrative or conversational analysis or narrative analysis or discourse analysis. And you will see even the not only the generation or the creation of those tables and everything, they are more and more very close to you. So whatever it is there in your mind, you're going to put it on the papers itself. Okay. So that is one more thing that I wanted to tell you. Because she is the guest, it does not look good me interfering and talking about them. That's why I did not interfere in that way at
Okay,
all.
ma'am. Thank you,
So
ma'am.
that will, yeah, you're most welcome. And guiding us, okay, Diksha, Sanjana, any other thing? Is there any limitation? No, Abhishek. You can import 500, 1000, you can import. It's up to you how many pages you want to import into that. and how well you want to go ahead with your analysis. No, it's up to you how well you're going to import and how well you're going to generate the codings from those paper. Now, can we do something on grounded theory? Of course, yes. Focus group, they have got completely this one. In fact, I'm working out with them very closely so that we have different tabs for the different methodologies also. For example, if I'm doing exclusively, let's say, phenomenology, I should have a space called just like your focus group. There also we should have, because phenomenology again comes into different schools. So they are working for somebody who knows about these things. And you will see for grounded theory, ethnography and focus group, they already have phenomenology. Right now they are focusing on these 4 schools so that we can go ahead and we can do use Maxqda to a larger extent also side by side. Okay, any other question out here? So you can be there, because she had been given, and being one of the both of us are co-trainers in that way, so it does not look good me interfering in between. Therefore I did not. So if there are, you can ask us. Otherwise, I'll be giving you the hands-on experience. Tomorrow's session is a beautiful, amazing one. I would ask all of you to be there 15 minutes before 8 o'clock, because Philip joins up very nicely, and listen to him very carefully, and if possible take some notes also, because he has worked very deeply in qualitative analysis. In fact, with NVivo, I do not trust anybody else in the entire world. Let me tell you, even if I face some problem, it is the first person that I approach is Philip, actually, because he has worked into that system so much. And for 3 years of his PhD, and prior to that his own studies at the post-graduation level, he was exclusively working with the teachers who are known for NVivo. They are not from the company side. When I say company, I'm talking about the NVivo as a software company. More than that, these people are aware of it. So tomorrow, you can ask him as many questions as you can. He will never stop you, number one. However, first listen to him, what he's telling to you, how he is doing it in vivo, and in what manner does he talk about structuralization and post-structuralization in that, and how is he carrying it. After this particular session, in another 10-15 minutes, I'm going to share the link for tomorrow, number one. Number two, the material that he has asked me to float around the entire workshop participants also. So tomorrow, let us welcome him in a very nice manner, and then we can go after he discusses whatever he wants to do it. Okay, and one more question. I think there was somebody. Okay, Kanan sir, you were asking her actually, how do we, include content writing, sentiment analysis, narrative, discourse, discursive into this question. Tomorrow, Philip would be answering it, sir, and he answers it very nicely, and you would see, how he is going to divide the entire methodological schools also in here, and then we will be able to move ahead, sir. So while you were writing, I was keeping these questions in mind also, one after the other, and I thought I will be able to make you understand later on.
Thank you, ma'am. One thing I want to add to Abhishek, he asked that if there are similar codes in different places in interview, can we code it in a single go? The answer is yes. You can create a code, and then that code you can highlight those sentences or paragraphs which are similar, and then drag those that code to each one of the highlighted places. So in one go, all these paragraphs or the highlighted sentences will be coded with the same thing, right? So that is one way. Or else the other way around is that you first of all you highlight all those things which are similar, and then write a code and which you can drag into the code window. So both ways.
Yes, absolutely right, Kanan sir. You are absolutely right in that manner. Bingo, sir. And Neha, you are asking me the question that if you want, you can reach me out via WhatsApp or my mail. Both of them are available. And now I think all of us are like family members out here. You need not even ask me this one directly. You can shoot out the mail or through the WhatsApp. So I don't have any issue, and please don't take it up. If there are certain things that you require it, you are most welcome to approach me. We are all there for that only. Okay. So I think any other question that you individuals would like to ask right now, think about it. And yes, you can look into some of the Maxqda videos also, which are available. And you can start learning. Maybe by Monday, I would be getting the access usernames and the passcodes, which I would be given. So till that time, please do not download the trial version of this thing also. If you are getting the password, that means it is meant for the latest version of Maxqda. If they don't give it, I'm just waiting. If they say no, you can give away your. So I have got my own trainers, whether it is Deduce or Atlas TI or NVivo, we get the username and the password. So I have my own, I would be able to share it. So let's wait till Monday and then we can. Do we have to use it right away, or we can? Asha, they are, I'm still in discussion because the owner of the company has given me two options. One, for this workshop, he said that, they have said that basically I would use the word they, because there were 4 or 5 of them who were talking to me, and they have said that we can use it for 1 month exclusively. Number one, for the participants of this workshop. Second option they have given to me is that, and which I'm rotating it, giving it to you. If you know your HODs, you can talk to them. I, as a trainer, can go ahead and give you the this particular software for next 6 months, the licensed version to the university, wherein I would be coming in as a trainer and I would be training all of you, so that within those 6 months, it is not just using the software. However, you are able to come up with a particular paper also, Asha. So, if you know your HOD and you can talk to them or him, that's fine. Otherwise, you can put a word across to them, and then if they say, okay, you can give our mail ID or phone number to Ramani and let her contact us directly, I would be able to do it, because I am conducting these kind of workshops, through them in different universities. So I said, now they are saying that if you are in India, why not you yourself? Because, it's not just the Western methodologies that we need to introduce. We need to introduce even the other methodologies also. For example, let's say if somebody is working on Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita has got a complete different style of analysis, just like you have got for the methodology of ethnography or focus group or this one. How to generate those interviews, how to go ahead and talk to them, because that is associated with ISKCON, and then I'm taking care of it from there. So, that is one way. Secondly, you have the Buddhism. In Buddhism also there are. So certain universities have asked us to go ahead, like for example, Banaras Hindu University. They have the proper department where they are working on these schools also, along with their management students. So how do you go ahead and introduce to them? And secondly, I have already started off with one training program at Bangladesh, and I'm very close to the Tibet house. So Tibetan individuals, including Dalai Lama, sir, there are around 1,000 monks who are being right now trained on the Maxqda. So, in Karnataka itself. So, I'm that those monasteries which are there. So right now I'm doing it online training for them exclusively, and they are using it. Now, similarly, we have another Buddhist department at Gautam Buddha University. So please, we don't require any kind of an attendance in the chat box. The announcement was made yesterday only, Purnima ma'am. From the background, whosoever at what time they have entered the meet and at what time they have exited, I have got the complete this thing, and the IT department is taking care of the attendance also side by side. So, you need not worry about it, ma'am. Already it has been taken care. So, Asha ma'am, so for 1 month, you would be given exclusively to work on that. If your university is eager, they can contact me. You have my WhatsApp number, my phone number, as well as email ID. You can talk to your department. Then I can give it away for 6 months, whichever universities are there. You can directly approach me in that manner in India, and those things would be delivered in both local languages as well as and that's the reason why they have given this approval for me in India. So I think all of you are there. So whosoever is looking forward to be introducing this in their universities can contact me directly for that one. Okay. So I think anything else that you want to ask me, you can ask. Nothing. So let's say right now wind up. Tomorrow again, 7:45, I would be present. So some of you who would like to join up, be there. And Philip, you can learn a lot. Tomorrow's day is again for en vivo for us. Okay, directly en vivo. I'm working out with the company also if they can give us the this one, and let's see how to go ahead with that also side by side. All right. So thank you, all of you. And I really appreciate that some of you were able to interact with Tamara and receive all these kind of stuff. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.